What's up, everybody? It's me, Joey P. Joe Pizzapia, back with another buy low, sell high edition here on FantasyPros MLB channel. Don't forget to subscribe to the FantasyPros MLB channel, and of course, like this video because it's easy to do, and we're doing all this great content for you. We do it all for the fans, all for you, trying to have a great MLB season. So let's get at it. Let's make some trades. Let's have some fun, and let's start with the very top here, and let's get to Jonathan India. Now, the second baseman for the Cincinnati Reds, certainly through 16 games this season, has not had the best slash. 242, 275, 563, no homers on the year, just one walk and 17 strikeouts. But look, this is a guy who had a really strong last 4 months of the season last year. He is much better than what he's shown so far, and this is the perfect time to buy low on Jonathan India if you need some help in that middle infield. Maybe flipping a pitcher like a Tyler Anderson, who's pitching above his head, is the perfect guy to go ahead and move, because Jonathan India is a guy who was up there Rookie of the Year last year. India can get it done, much better player than he's shown, and right now this is a guy who probably can get you double-digit homers the rest of the season with a 260 batting average. Speaking of guys off to disappointing first halves, let's talk about Bryan Reynolds of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Oh my goodness, how much did I love Bryan Reynolds of the Pittsburgh Pirates coming into this season. But unfortunately, he's got just 11 homers, 21 RBI, and of course 30 runs scored here, and we are almost at the end of June, so that's not great. But in terms of what he can still give you as the guys over there start to pick things up in Pittsburgh, and we're talking also not just about Sawinski, but we're talking about Anyo Cruz getting added this week, I think things are going to start to change a little bit for Bryan Reynolds. Bryan Reynolds might also still be appealing based off what he did last year to some contending teams. So even though the slash right now is 253, 331, 443, I'm telling you right now, I think there's a higher gear still in Bryan Reynolds, and some of this lineup help that's actually coming here is going to be a good thing for him in the second half of the season, whether he stays or goes. Now, how about some big stars to buy on? It's very rare you get a window to buy on Juan Soto. Remember a couple weeks ago, I told you there was a small window to buy on Mike Trout? I hope you did, because things look pretty good right now. He's on pace for 50 dingers. But what about Juan Soto? Let's take a look at him right now, because Juan Soto's got 14 home runs, but Juan Soto's playing on an awful Nationals team. He's walking pretty much, it feels like, every other time he's up at bat, and he's got one of the lowest BABIPs in all of baseball at 213. This is a dude who is absolutely elite. We're talking top 5, maybe even top 3 hitters in baseball. Yes, it's going to be difficult for him to really have massive seasons with this Nationals lineup the way it is constructed, but he can absolutely be better than he's been so far, and Juan Soto is absolutely a guy worth trying to buy, especially in any Dynasty Keeper leagues. Now's the time to try to get him while the getting's good. One more big name, too, for you. How about Fernando Tatis Jr.? Now, Fernando Tatis Jr. is not going to be on the early side of the time frame returning from that wrist injury. And that's okay. That's a disappointment to a lot of people, especially those owners who put draft capital in Fernando Tatis Jr., and it was significant draft capital because now they've been waiting for 3 months, maybe into 4. That's going to be a tough sell. But if you go out there and try to get Fernando Tatis Jr. now onto your team, you're looking at maybe about 4 weeks. Very different pattern here, and Tatis certainly is going to come back and make an impact when he does. It's good that they're not rushing him back. You want him to be completely healthy. That way he can contribute. So those are the guys you want to buy. Let's talk about the guys you want to sell right now. How about Luis Arraez? Now look, Arraez is a player that has a very high batting average, and we know that so many teams right now are struggling in roto leagues with that batting average. That's pretty much all he is. It's a huge batting average and a huge BABIP as well, 390. Over the last 30 days, right now he's qualifying as a 30 top player. Let me try that again. 3, 2, 1. He's doing all this work with the qualified BABIP of 390. That's the 5th highest in baseball. Over the last 30 days, Yahoo Stats have him qualifying as a top 30 player. And look, he's just not that great of an overall asset. So sell him to a team that's struggling in batting average and try to get some pitching help. Maybe you can get an Andrew Heaney for him or something like that to help out your rotation. I've said it once, I've said it 100 times, and I'm going to say it again. Continue to look to trade Tony Gonzalez. Tony Gonzalez right now has an xFIP of 3.68, a Sierra of 3.72, and a 1.42 ERA. Eventually, those things are going to come together, and eventually the innings are going to catch up to Tony Gonzalez at some point. You have to look at that seriously, and you have to consider that you've probably gotten the absolute best you can possibly imagine out of that Dodgers starter this year. Tony Gonzalez had a great start to the season. What's the finish look like? That is unknown, and that's why you have to make a move. And I know I'm putting him on here for, the second week in a row, but I want you to know I really mean it. Last guy on the list today is Michaelis of the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, look, he pitches for a good team. He's got a 2.62 ERA. But let's not forget that K percentage is still a little bit below where we would like most of our elite starting pitchers. He's having a great season. That's not the same thing as being elite. In the last couple of years, he's had an ERA above 4, and now that ERA at 2.62 is sitting there, and I'm looking at it like a ticking time bomb personally. I'm waiting for Michaelis to start to pitch a little bit more like the guy we've seen in the past. Now, I think you can sell him for more than he might be worth because he does pitch for a team that's contending, and the Cardinals are very good. Maybe you can get a big strikeout arm like Robbie Ray, who, guess what, over the last 30 days, has a mid-3 ERA and a much higher strikeout rate. That's a deal I bet you can pull off right now, and Michaelis might be a guy who's already served you best and might be better off moving on to another roster and not yours for the rest of the season. So those are the guys we have for you to buy low and sell high here on our MLB channel. Make sure you subscribe to Fantasy Pros MLB and check out Leading Off 5 days a week. We're here for you, doing content, doing the podcast live, so join us for that. And don't forget to check out all the great content at FantasyPros.com. That'll do it for me, Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.
Thanks for tuning in to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel. Don't forget to check out our featured videos. And while you're at it, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at FantasyPros, so you can get the latest news and updates to give you the edge you need in your fantasy league.